Let's talk about another topic that's been happening in and around the world of wrestling, and a lot of people have written in and wanted to get your thoughts on the passing of Rocky King.
Oh, yeah. I just saw that yesterday. And obviously, Rocky wasn't in the business for 30 years or whatever, but it was during that, last half of the 80s period of time when now all of those shows are on Peacock, the WCW and Crockett shows. And some of those guys have had a resurgence because people can see them again. And that was one of the first angles that we worked when we came to work for Crockett was the original, obviously the linchpin of the thing was the Midnight Express in a feud with Jimmy Valiant and partners that would be explained at various points, like Ronnie Garvin, and who later became Miss Atlanta Lively, unfortunately. And superstar Billy Graham was involved with Jimmy Valiant at one point because Graham was trying to get back in the business there and Crockett was using him, but they weren't great matches. But what name power, my God, you had stars from, 3 different decades. But Rocky King had been doing jobs on TV and working underneath, and they booked him on, some underneath matches at the house shows. But Dusty liked him. He had a great body, especially for the time, and especially for a lot of the other guys that were doing jobs. Somebody tweeted a Midnight Express versus Rocky King and Ron Rossi match. Do you remember Ron Rossi?
I do.
Nicest guy in the world, tried his hardest, just wanted to be a part of the show, had no ego or whatever, but my God, he looked like a baked potato with arms, legs, and a mustache. And so Rocky was athletic and he had personality and he had the big smile, and the people kind of started liking him. Dusty wanted to use him. So we had the, match with them and ended up, for whatever, because we're heels, kicking the shit out of Rocky King when he bowed up a little bit at us. And here comes Jimmy Valiant to make the save. And he brings Rocky King into his group of the street people. And, and later on, maybe Rocky was driving Big Mama around when she was looking for handsome Jimmy, the boogie woogie man. But so that Rocky got a chance to, to be involved in a bit of an angle and work with some of the top guys. And again, he was great. And he knew that he was probably going to be the one dropping the fall on that side because, when you're in with Jimmy Valiant and Superstar Graham and Ronnie Garvin or whatever, he knew he was not there yet, but he was thankful for the opportunity and easy to work with. He got so fucking excited though at first because he'd never been featured. Right. So finally one night it was a little small town in Virginia, right across the border from North Carolina that Crockett used to run. And it was a little small town, but we'd go in this gym and do, 1,500 people or whatever. And I'm trying to remember the name of it, but nevertheless, Valiant actually, because we're going to win. So Valiant sells and gives Rocky the tag. And Rocky is so excited to get the hot tag and make a comeback that he leaps over the top rope, almost, caught his left toe on the top, and he's never let go of the top rope, so he spun in over the top at like 5,000 miles an hour. He jumps, hits a quick spin, landed on his feet, still holding onto the top rope, jerked himself to his feet, and started throwing drop kicks. It was a goddamn, if you didn't know, you would have almost thought he tried to do it that way. But anyway, after that ran for a while, he still stayed around the area because I think he was living in Georgia, and they would use him intermittently. I think he was back in 87 and 88. And then, of course, what was it? 90 or 91 or 90. Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin were the Freebirds, and they'd lost the opportunity to get Gordy because he was. Go ahead.
I think that was 91. 1990, I thought you were going to go when Ole brought him in to do the whole racist angle with Flair and the Junkyard Dog. It started with Rocky King and the Horsemen cornering Rocky King before JYD came out of the crowd to save him.
Yeah, I'd forgot about that, thankfully. None of that was particularly a high point, but yes. Ole loved to do there was a market for it when it was Atlanta television. with, the heel making fun of the black baby face being Tony Atlas and et cetera, because the wrestling fans there, the audience in Georgia and that part of the country was probably split 50-50. And most of them, obviously, whether they were white or black, they were on the side of the black baby face because the antagonistic white heels were saying all these horrible things. But it didn't work nor fly in 1990 when the show's being seen all over the fucking country, and it didn't work. But then it wasn't quite as tasteless, but at the same time probably didn't work any better when he became a member of the Freebirds, but at least he got another chance to do something. But Little Richard Marley was where I was going with.
That's right.
So the Freebirds, and see, this was the thing again. Sometimes if the Midnight Express had lasted 20 years uninterrupted as a team, we probably would have had to change some shit too. But we had the 7, and we did change one partner, one whole member of the team, but we had 7 years and then the reunions, but we're just doing the greatest hits catalog because, that's what everybody wanted to see at that point. And it wasn't like we were trying to get over and work regularly. The Freebirds, in trying to update themselves in various incarnations, went completely fucking mad and lost the plot. And these 3 redneck, fucking Southern psychopaths, whiskey drinking fucking hellraisers from, the South with the Stars and Bars and the whole 9 yards and Freebird and Leonard Skinner music. 10 years later, there's Michael Hayes moonwalking with one fucking glove on like Michael Jackson. He's wearing eyeliner like David Bowie. Jimmy Garvin has joined the team and he's in fucking sequins. And they're still using the Skinnerd music, but now only the fast-paced instrumental. And then they get a black kid named Little Richard Marley, named after both Little Richard and Bob Marley. And all of those things individually may be great, but together, I don't know what the fuck they were doing, and nobody else did either, and that's why I didn't get over. But Rocky got a chance to fucking do. They mentioned in some of the stories about Rocky, even though he didn't become a major star to make a ton of money, but he had since then, because he was homeless before he started in wrestling. And it was a dream of his to be on TV, and just those checks were big to him. And since then, he's raised money for the homeless. He would feed, hungry people in the Atlanta area at the homeless missions. He was always trying to help kids and do charity work or whatever. So, he was a great guy. I hate that. And did they say what happened? I think that's the only piece of information I didn't retain from the news was what actually happened. But he wasn't. Is he 60, 62? Somewhere around my age, I would think, or younger. That's not comforting. How old was he?
I didn't have his age in front of me.
You don't have it in front of you? You don't instantly know Rocky's age? Well, let's see. Hold on. If he was starting around 1985, he'd be around 60, one way or the other.
It says here he was born in 1960.
So 62, almost maybe. So they're okay. But we're too young regardless. And so I hate that. I hadn't seen him in God in 20-something years or whatever. But, there you go. Nobody lives forever, and I guess we're not all of us going to get out of here alive, as they say.